The most underrated player on each remaining NBA team. Let's go. I'll be talking about the teams based on playoff seeding, and I'll be going from Western Conference to Eastern Conference to Western Conference, etc. First up, the Oklahoma City Thunder are just full of players that are honestly underrated by the majority of NBA viewers. Alex Caruso would have been this winner a few years ago on many of his teams, but I think now he's properly rated. There are so many just great players that buy into their role and succeed in that role. There's a reason why this team is so great and so deep, whether it's Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace. I honestly think that Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren are better players than most NBA fans think, but I'll personally go with Aaron Wiggins as being the most underrated player. He's just a dream role player. He's a great shooter, but can also shot create and play make, a very solid defender. I just don't see enough people talking about him outside of Oklahoma City fans, and every single NBA team would greatly benefit from him being on the roster. Now for the one seed in the Eastern Conference, the Cleveland Cavaliers, I chose Jarrett Allen. Since they are such a great deep team, they are also full of players that fit this mold. I would have picked Ty Jerome for this a couple of weeks ago, but now I think the NBA world realizes how good he is based on that series against the Heat. Max Strus would be a good answer for this, Sam Merrill, even DeAndre Hunter potentially, Evan Mobley if people haven't been keeping up with the Cavs. But Jarrett Allen is such a winning player for this team, vibes wise and on the court. I'd say he has underrated mobility on the perimeter. He played all 82 games. He is a glue guy that is just absolutely perfect in his role of playing defense, finishing around the hoop, bringing good vibes. And without him, they would be a vastly different team. I just don't think enough people outside of Cleveland realize how impactful he is. Three names came to mind for the Denver Nuggets most underrated player, and that was Russell Westbrook, Christian Brown, and Aaron Gordon. Russell Westbrook has been a blessing for Denver. He obviously has very low lows, but he has provided so many good things for the Nuggets. They often lack consistent energy and emotion and focus and care, especially in the regular season, and he brought that consistently, and it just helped them get through so many dry spells. He's been huge, but Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown in particular are both heavily underrated players. They're incredibly perfect in their roles. They are winning players. They do the dirty work, but can also do the pretty work way better than people expect. I'm picking Christian Brown because he is way better than people think right now. This season, he has improved so much and has shown way more in his offensive game than I personally expected, which will probably be a big X factor in the OKC series. He'll need to drop 15 or 20 a couple games, and I think he could, honestly. Similar to the Thunder and Cavs, the other team in that top tier, the Boston Celtics, are also full of these types of guys. I was actually really tempted to pick Jason Tatum for this. He's a lot better than most people think. I do really want to see it in a truly do or die situation because in the past he wasn't prepared, but he's the best he's ever been. He's super well rounded, and I don't think he gets enough credit. However, for my most underrated player on the Celtics, I kind of went in the completely opposite direction and went for Luke Cornett. He's just someone that an NBA casual has likely never heard of, but he's a great rim protector, which you wouldn't guess watching him move around. A great screener, his finishing has improved. He just doesn't overstep his role, and no one talks about him, and he's getting legitimate minutes on this extremely talented and deep Boston Celtics team and providing. So Luke Cornett is my most underrated player for them. The names I had in mind for the Minnesota Timberwolves were Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo, and then Julius Randle, believe it or not. And my final choice was Dante DiVincenzo. Similar to a lot of the players that I've mentioned, he has crazy, contagious energy, but is also a fantastic ball handler and shot creator and shot maker. He's a great role player and can play in a role, yet, unlike a lot of those players around the league, he can play well above that role when he's needed to. And although he's been kind of passed around, I think he's such a great player, and every single team that has him loves him. He's a great role player that does buy into the system, yet can drop 30 points and 8 assists while hitting superstar like shots every once in a while. He's just a fantastic player, and if the Timberwolves do go on a run, I'm sure he'll have a big part in that. Two names came to mind for the New York Knicks, and that was Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges. Josh Hart is what every team needs. He's a dog, he's a team player, he'll do all the dirty work, he'll make big shots even though his three-pointer can be a problem sometimes. But I do think he's mostly correctly valued, so I'm going to have to go with Mikal Bridges. He's had a disappointing season, especially for how much the Knicks gave up for him. But as the first round showed, I think that he'll really step up when it matters and in the playoffs and things like that. He's a great connector. He'll hit big shots. He's a fantastic defender. He just makes big plays when it matters. Although I don't think he's super underrated, he's probably the most underrated on the Knicks right now. And I love him as a player, so the players on the Golden State Warriors that I thought of as potentially being underrated were Gary Payton, Moses Moody, Pat Spencer. Honestly, he's shown me some things, and Jonathan Kuminga. I'm just kidding. He has been frustrating to watch. I can't even imagine it from Warriors fans' perspectives. Every time he goes out there, it feels like he's trying to prove himself, but all he needs to do is play within the structure and play a role. He doesn't need to be this crazy on ball scorer right now. Anyways, contrasting Jonathan Kuminga, the most underrated player on the Warriors to me is Moses Moody. He has bought into his role. He's a great defender, strong, athletic, has the size, and offensively, when he's playing with confidence, he can honestly do a lot of things and hit his shots. It's just about playing with confidence, but I don't think enough people outside of Golden State are talking about him. The Indiana Pacers are full of heavily underappreciated players from around the league. TJ McConnell, even Obi Toppin, I would say, Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nembhard. Oh my gosh. They are just dream role players that can be way more than that, similar to Dante DiVincenzo. My choice for their most underrated is Aaron Nesmith. Nembhard is right there, but I do think he's just talked about a bit more than Aaron Nesmith. And Aaron Nesmith is just a dream role player. He is a 3-and-D guy who can shot create, is becoming a better decision maker, is a freak athlete. He shows up when you need him. He's a dog. He is just so enjoyable to watch and probably has more star potential than most even Pacers fans would think. I wouldn't be that surprised if in a couple years he becomes like a legit number 2 option on a team, maybe number 3 option on a championship team. He's just incredible. I could talk about him forever. Don't sleep on Jarris Walker, though, for the future. I don't think he can provide enough in the playoffs yet. He's too young. Cavs are just too tough, but don't sleep on him for the future. And just for fun, I wrote down some underrated players on the eliminated NBA playoff teams. First up, the Milwaukee Bucks. I have Giannis and AJ Green. Giannis obviously gets hype, but he is the clear second best player in the world right now, in my opinion. And no one talks about him anymore like that. He's been in awful situations. I get he hasn't made a deep run, but it just hasn't been his fault, unfortunately. He fights, he now has a midi, and he's the best he's ever been in my opinion. AJ Green's just a great role player that you likely haven't heard of. He can hit his shots, of course he can, and play solid defense, and I think he potentially could have some more shot creation and playmaking in his bag in the future. We'll see though. For the Pistons, I picked Cade Cunningham and Tobias Harris. Cade Cunningham has his hype, but the average NBA fan doesn't realize how good he already is and how great he could be. I wholeheartedly believe he could be a first option on a championship winning team in the future. I don't think he's being talked about in the media or from average NBA fans like that. So him. Tobias Harris plays a lot more winning basketball than the narratives would say, in my opinion. It's as simple as that. He does a lot. He got a lot of hate, and it just kind of followed him throughout his career, but he's been pretty awesome for the Pistons. I didn't have any players on the Magic that I was passionate about being underrated, unfortunately, but the 3 guys I listed were Goga, Wendell Carter Jr., and then Corey Joseph. Corey Joseph just got thrown into an awful situation and performed very well, and I haven't seen his name anywhere, so I'm going to go with him. Miami Heat, it's Tyler Hero and Davion Mitchell. Tyler Hero has grown so much and is way better than I ever expected. Miami just hasn't been good enough for anyone to really talk about that. He's not going to be a championship first option, chances are, but he could be a fantastic second or third one. And Davion Mitchell has always had the defense, but recently his confidence offensively has grown so much in pretty much every part of his game. I'm really excited to watch him next year. Now in the Western Conference, first up the Lakers. I have Austin Reeves. People are probably going to think I'm crazy for this, but he is not just a player massively pushed by the LA propaganda. He seriously is a legit great player, and I know he sucked versus the Timberwolves, but that might be the single worst matchup defensively in the entire league for him. He was unbelievable this entire season. Luka being so on ball has kind of taken away from him, which I don't love, but Austin Reeves is better than the casual NBA fan thinks, believe it or not. My second guy is Rui Hachimura, just great role player, can do more than that, and just fun. Clippers, Nicholas Batum, Zubac, and Derrick Jones Jr. Zubac is the one that stands out for me. He is really, really good offensively now. A great passer. He's got insane touch, amazing screens, and defensively, he is a star. The Jokic matchup in particular, I feel confident saying right now he is the best Jokic defender in the entire league, which is pretty wild. Zubac is underrated. For the Rockets, I have Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, and Steven Adams. Steven Adams has gotten talked about so much recently, not really him anymore. Jabari Smith is not going to live up to that third overall pick hype, but he's just disappeared off the face of the planet in terms of hearing his name. And he's a really solid role player and has shown a lot this year, in my opinion. Tari Eason just never gets talked about. Great role player. His energy and defense and dogness was always there, but he's shown a lot on offense too. So, lastly, the Memphis Grizzlies have been full of incredibly underrated players the last few years, in my opinion. Scottie Pippen Jr. and Santi Aldama are the two this year for me. Aldama has been underrated for years. I still don't see anything about him, and it's just going to keep being that way, I guess. And Scottie Pippen Jr., I'm surprised by how little I hear about him. He could potentially start as a shooting guard in the NBA, and I think if he goes on to a different team, especially a big market, you're going to hear his name all the time in the next few years, but we'll see. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If you want to see some more videos, definitely subscribe. And let me know what you disagree with, what you agree with. Maybe I missed a complete sleeper on your team who's going to break out and no one's talking about. Or maybe I hit every single thing and I didn't get a single thing wrong. I don't know. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.